This is Zachary Ezrin from Imperial Triumphant, and I'm blowing it up on Capital Chaos TV.
This is Zoran Theodorovich with Capital Chaos TV and Metal Gods Radio. And we have Zachary. Is it Zachary Ezrin from Imperial Triumphant on the phone? Did I get your name right?
You sure did, man. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. My pleasure. First of all, the new album is amazing. You must be very proud of yourself.
I'm very proud of everyone who worked on the record. Thanks so much, man. I'm glad you did it. It was a lot of work.
A lot of work over how long of a period of time?
Not long enough. You know what I mean? It was. We definitely were hustling a lot, especially towards the end. You know, trying to get all the pieces aligned and make sure that everything was going according to plan. But I got to say, this is probably the record that I'm most proud of at the moment that I've made.
How important is coffee in the morning? Are you black or with cream and sugar?
I can go either way. It depends on the morning, I guess. Sometimes I'll take it black, or sometimes I'll do cream and sugar. I know the rest of my band is very serious about coffee, and they are very particular. They go probably mostly cappuccinos or cortados. And, you know, really everywhere we go on tour, they have to find the most artisan coffee shop imaginable.
I know that some people are into IPAs and breweries, and others are into coffee. It's do you have a Starbucks?
It's a very New York thing. It's a New York thing, you know. Like coffee's just in our blood, I guess.
It is now.
Starbucks, yeah, I like Starbucks. It's cool.
Are you very sweet? You said you can go either or, so I would imagine that it doesn't necessarily, you don't kill it with sugar.
No, I don't like too much sugar, but I will say the best coffee shop in New York City is Sweet Leaf, particularly the one in Long Island City. Shout out to the guys who made our coffee for us.
Oh, wow.
It's really one of the best coffees I've ever had.
Sweet Leaf Coffee.
Yeah, they're a roaster based in New York City.
Oh, wow. Well, I'll be sure to give that a whirl. I imagine they probably ship.
Especially now, I think they probably do, yeah. Yeah, I think you'll really enjoy it.
Talk a little bit about your ethnic background, where you are from, where you spent most of your life, and what's kept you there.
Well, I'm born and raised in New York City. So I'm really just, you know, kind of never left my hometown, really. Just, but I guess what's kept me there is that it's just an incredible place for collaboration and creating art. An art hub for the last century at least, I think. And New York City has definitely been an incredible source of inspiration for me.
Have you delved much into your ancestry?
Yeah, I'm on my father's side, I'm Russian Jewish, and on my mother's side, Italian, which is actually a pretty common combination in New York City. A lot of my classmates growing up had a similar combination.
Was religion a big part of your upbringing?
Kind of. You know, my father raised us, me and my brother, as Jewish, but it was always very reform and not so strict. You know, just kind of. It's very. I guess it's very common in you know New York City Jews. They're very. Most of us are pretty reformed, pretty casual about it.
Over the decades, I've heard the term New York Jew. But are you familiar with that term?
That's us, man.
It's a term of endearment and not a slur per se.
I don't feel like it's a slur at all. No, it's true.
Do you have a theory on why pedophilia has been so prevalent in the Catholic Church?
I mean, I don't have any like long-standing theories, but I would assume it goes hand in hand with celibacy.
How did you first get into music, and what was your first introduction to heavy metal?
I first got into music, from just my parents playing records in the house, and I think Hendrix was the first one that really grabbed me, and I was like, oh, yeah, this rips. And from just a classic trajectory of, from Hendrix to Zeppelin to Sabbath and Metallica, and just always wanting to hear something heavier and, dirtier and crazier, and just, slowly going down the rabbit hole as I get older, diving into more obscure death metal and black metal and bands like this. And it's always, been a passion, and I love it still now, exploring and finding new bands and bands doing new innovative things.
Who came up with the name Imperial Triumphant, which is a great name, by the way? What other band names? Oh, you're welcome. What other band names were seriously considered?
Well, it's kind of interesting because I technically started the band when I was 16. But it was kind of a completely different band. So it's basically like two bands up, one after the other under the same name. But I came up with it just because I was trying to think of cool words, cool band name, and it sort of ended up fitting perfectly for our aesthetic. But before that, I had started a band called Scream for Evil, which is a pretty sweet band name as well. And then I was just like, all right, I'm going to take it serious and let's do Imperial Triumphant. And it seemed appropriate at the time. And I always kind of felt unsure about it, but more and more these days I'm just loving it.
Your fourth album, Alphaville, comes out at the end of July on a new record company with stunning artwork. You want to talk a little bit about signing with Century Media and the art on Alphaville?
Yeah, we signed with Century Media last fall. We were talking to them last summer, just kind of seeing if it would be a good fit, and every time I've spoken to them, it just felt more and more like home, and they really, I feel like they truly believe in us, and they really are supportive of letting us grow and not trying to change us to be more commercial or anything that someone might think. Like, they really believe in their artists, and they push them hard, and it's been a really great experience so far. And the album cover was paired with, we linked up with BLX, this incredible Polish illustrator he's got a architecture background, so that we kind of knew going in that it was going to be a good match, that he was going to deliver something that fit our aesthetic really well. And, I really couldn't be more excited about the final product. I think it's gorgeous.
It almost looks like the artwork was made with a record or a vinyl record cover in mind.
It really was, man. He definitely thinks about a lot of that kind of stuff, and it is, like when you open up the gatefold, then it just reveal the full album cover with the full skyscraper. And even, I encourage anyone listening to buy the vinyl LP, because the inserts and the stickers that go on the vinyls and the inner jacket, everything is really well thought out. There's a lot of hidden messages and symbols and Easter eggs sort of thing within the artwork that you're going to want it big, so you can explore it while you listen to the record.
With 7 originals and 2 covers, is there a theme running through the album, or is it more of a collection of songs?
Sort of both, I guess. I mean, it is a collection of songs, but and each song does stand on their own. But I would say that the theme is still basically this sort of dark future, dystopian future that we're currently living in, and the very real dystopian atmosphere of the present day, and the horror of real life, which I think can be often overlooked for fantasy elements.
Are your lyrics pretty much straightforward, or are they rainbow in the dark, open to interpretation?
Oh, they're very much open to interpretation, and we arrange them so that they are sort of left unfinished. You know, there's sort of, it's almost like there's like gaps for you, the listener and the reader, to fill in with your own creative thoughts. We really try to make the most interactive and engaging record for the listener's experience.
How can you go wrong with Voivod?
Exactly. It was our bass player Steve's idea, and he really, you know, within a few, maybe half an hour of jamming on the experiment track, we were just like, this is going to be a ripper for sure. And we kind of started experimenting with it, trying to make it more of our own style so that it wasn't just a straight note-for-note cover, but something more unique, and we're really happy with the finished product.
Is Alphaville a continuation of Vile Luxury at all?
In some ways, you could say that, just because it's the next chapter of Imperial Triumphant's music, but in no way is it a Vile Luxury 2. It's just for a more refined version of ourselves and our sound.
As a bassist myself, I really liked how the bass stands out prominently on this new album. Now, how much time is spent dialing in the tones for recording?
I'd say a decent amount of time, but nothing crazy. Like, we didn't spend days hashing out the guitar tone or anything like that. It was really just fine-tuning, and then maybe a bit in post, but really just sticking to what we know and we like. And especially with the bass, our bass player, we always say he plays lead bass because he's got a huge pedal board. He's very aware of how to create certain tones, and he knows how to work his pedals really well. So it was very easy for him to find the sound he wanted for this section, that section, because he's so in tune with his pedals. Is getting a quality tune or a great tone was not too difficult.
You guys are no strangers to the wearing of masks. Did it take some time to find something that was comfortable to perform in?
I couldn't tell you. They're still not that comfortable, but they are definitely a work in progress for sure, man. And they are really a fun, creative project where we are always developing it and expanding on how we're going to present ourselves live on stage.
I, for one, really appreciate the theatrical production that you bring to your music.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. We really give a shit, you know, and we try really hard to make sure that every element of our presentation and our music is thought out.
How has the writing and recording process changed from album to album, and do you set a time limit to perfection?
No, it's not changed too much. It's because it's always changing. Every song is written in a completely different format or way of creating, and it could be from very obscure ways or very precise. You have to play this, you have to play that. So it's very interpretive, but I'd say when the song is done, we know, and there's no hesitation. It just feels right, and it's, you know, I always say it's like you have, you know, a sculptor will look at a block of marble, and he'll imagine that there's already a sculpture perfectly inside of it, and he just needs to chisel away to get it. And that's how I feel like our music is. We have the song in our minds already exists perfectly, and it's just up to us to make the right decisions and figure out the right arrangements so that it's perfect.
Are there any bonus tracks recorded for special releases, Japanese markets? Will there be a digipack, colored vinyl, keychains, or patches?
There will be an absurd amount of merch coming your way very soon. We didn't do any bonus tracks because we actually were required to do the bonus tracks, and instead we opted for the covers, which will be on, I believe, the digital and hidden in other formats. But we just wanted to do. I didn't want to do a song that I didn't want on the album. So for me, instead of doing bonus tracks, we would just do the covers. And yeah, there'll be a very wide variety of colored vinyl as well, and each color it has a different name, and it's exclusive to a different market or distributor, so it's a very collectible item.
Have you been able to recoup your tour costs from the canceled Devastation on the Nation tour?
We have, actually. We did take a pretty big hit considering the tour was canceled so last minute. Even our flights weren't really reimbursed. They just gave us a credit, which is, useless at the moment. But through the generosity of our fans, purchasing all of our merch that we had made for the tour, we actually dug ourselves out of the hole. It's been really, we're really grateful for all the people who bought anything from us, and we're working to create, more content for people to buy to keep us afloat. We have a cover contest going on right now. We just released sheet music for our last single, Swarming Opulence, and we're going to having a contest of who can present the best version of this song. So if you want to really challenge yourself, pick up the sheet music for Swarming Opulence on our Bandcamp.
Has the Devastation on the Nation tour been rescheduled?
It has. It's going to be February of next year now, so people's tickets will still be honored, and we'll still be on the road. Hopefully sooner, too, if we can arrange it.
How familiar are you with modern-day mythology, such as Chupacabra, Sasquatch, or QAnon?
I guess I'm just as familiar as any regular person, I know about their existence, but I wouldn't say I'm an expert by any means.
If things remain the same in the world's current state, what will become of the music industry?
I think the music industry will find a way. I'm very much an optimistic person, and I think the amount of people that have put their entire lives into this industry are already thinking of the next creative way. And I see a lot of people, Frank from Metal Injection is putting on an online festival. I think next week it starts. And I'm seeing a lot of that kind of stuff. And until we can start touring again, there will always be innovations coming forward to accommodate mankind's natural desire for music.
How difficult is it to remain positive in this current viral environment, and how close has it hit to home?
It's definitely hit pretty home. It's close to home, especially living in New York, where it's the worst. And also being a professional musician, I don't have a day job. So, and a lot of my friends are professional musicians, so people are just straight out of work, not being able to work from home or anything. So it's been very difficult, but again, it's important to just stay positive and think forward and how can I make money? How can I create something, that people will want to buy or listen to or anything? You have to just keep moving forward.
Well, thank you for taking the time to talk to me. And like I said, your album, I listened to it this morning. Amazing. Thank you so much for creating the art that you do. Give me final thoughts that you might want to share with anybody that might be listening to it.
I hope you enjoyed Alphaville. It's definitely our favorite piece that we've created so far, and